Okay, so this is going to be lab 4-3. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right. So we'll go ahead and go to VMware in the UARC server, and I will open up Tableau. Okay, then we're going to go to Microsoft SQL Server. And then our server is going to be that ESSQL1.walton.uark.edu. And then our database is WCOB Dillards. Sign in. Okay, then it opens up our Tableau book. So we'll go ahead and go to New Custom SQL. And then, okay, and then we'll type in what the textbook gave us. All right. So that should work. Let's see. Okay, so then here's our two columns. And we're going to go to this ABC dropdown, or we'll click this ABC geographic role, and we'll go ahead and do, let's see, state province. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go to sheet 1 to go to our worksheet. And we can double click state. And I believe that'll populate it. Okay, and that just shows all the Dillards, or all the states that have Dillards. Okay, and then we're gonna let's see. I think we will double click average. and then that'll populate. Okay, so now once we hover, we can see the state and the average. And that's shown here too. And then if we want, we can go to this field map, and that shows the state by color. The darker the state, the higher the average. And that just shows us a little bit more info. And that concludes part 1. So now we can move on to part 2. So we'll go to data, new data source, SQL Server, and then we'll use that same database. Okay, so we have our new database. We can go ahead and drag, transact, and we can double click, transact, and store. Okay, and then we'll change these to all records. And then to change it to a join, we'll double click transact. And then we can bring store over again. And then that shows the inner join. And then we can go ahead and click automatically update, and that'll update our data here. Okay, and then we can do what we did last time and go to this ABC, geographic role, state province. And that fixes that. Okay, now we can go back to sheet 1. And then we'll go ahead and clear these so we can start fresh. Okay, then we'll go to let's see, custom. Go ahead and close that. Okay. Okay, so now we just have this transact. Now we can double click this one so it can populate. Okay, now we can pull, see, we want tran amount, pull that in, and it should populate as well. Okay, so now we can drop down some and change that to average, so we can see the average instead. All right, so now we'll see that average transaction amount per state. And then over here, we can see with this map, the The lighter states will have the lesser transaction amounts and the darker ones will have the greater amounts. And then textbook says we just want to focus on Arkansas. So let's keep only, and then that expands it. And then we can, let's see, double click the city store one to see the cities. And then it'll show us each individual city in Arkansas, as well as the transaction amount. And then we can change it to this horizontal bar chart to make it a little easier to read. Not shown here. Okay. We'll go to this data source tab. Double click transact. Oh, let's undo that. Double click this transact. And then we can go ahead and drag in SKU and department. Okay. Oh, and then we need to change. Let's see. Okay. We can go back to sheet 2. And we only want to keep this MOML, so keep only. Okay, then we're gonna combine some of these. So we'll drag over, I believe it's this one, the decade description on top of the century. Okay, now that'll create a hierarchy. And then we can pull this over to our rows. And that should populate. We can expand it. And that'll show hierarchy by organization. And if we wanted to, this could also be the description. Right now, it's just the department century. But either one, whichever one you pull in, that'll be that column. Okay, so now we can move on to our last part, which is part 4. So I can go ahead and minimize this. I still need to stay in the VMware. Okay, so that now we can open up Power BI Desktop. We'll go to Get Data. And we'll do SQL Server. And then we'll type in server name. And then our database. And then this direct query. Okay. Connect. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to check department, SKU, store, and transact. Then we can load. That'll take a minute. We'll expand our store over here. We'll check state. File option settings. Options, global, no. Global. Okay. Not sure how to turn on. I don't have global. Oh, I see. Security. Duh. Okay. Use map visuals. Okay, we'll try that again. There we go. Okay. Now we can expand transact. We'll check. I guess this train amount. Okay, so now we can expand this. I think it's still loading. Okay, there we go. Now it's showing us the amount by state. And then the larger the circle, the larger the amount. Okay, so now we can drop down under the size and change it to average instead of sum. And that should take a second. All right, now it's showing us average is, which is what we want. And then as we can see, the average is higher in Arkansas than it is in Texas. You can also see it by how big this bubble is versus this one. So now we want to copy this. Copy visual. Okay. Try to paste it. Let's try that again. Copy, Control V. There we go. Okay, so now we have our two tables. Okay. Now can make this one. Let's see, we want a clustered bar chart. And that should take a second. Okay. So as we can see, Arkansas is the top state when we're talking about the average of the transaction amount. And then under filters, we want to do only Arkansas. So we'll select that, and then that shows us just state of Arkansas. Okay, so now can go ahead and click city in here. So now we can see the cities of Arkansas. See a little better. We can expand this. Okay. And then that's all the cities based on average. Okay, so now what we want to do is make another table. So I'll copy visual, paste. Okay. All right, now we can filter the city, Maumelle only. Okay. And that shows us that city only. So now we can create our hierarchy. We'll expand department. And we'll drag the description on top of the century description. That might take a second if it worked. let's see. Decade description on top of, it's not letting me drag it. Hmm. Maybe I need to select it. Oh wait. Oh no, that's not what I want. It's not letting me drag. I don't know why it's not letting me drag. Maybe let's try clicking out of the table. Okay, having some technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, I don't know why it's not letting me drag, but I know that I'm supposed to drag this on top of this to create that hierarchy. Um, I don't know why it's not letting me, but you know, I do know that I'm supposed to do that. And then I would select that, and then that would allow me to drill down. Okay. I guess I can just drill down without the hierarchy. Okay, there we go. Okay. This isn't with the hierarchy, this is just the century description, but I couldn't, it's not letting me drag. So I'm just showing the drill down without the hierarchy. Um, just the same way as it would look with. And I believe, okay, then we can hit, I think that we can hit expand all somewhere. Okay, well, I believe that concludes Lab 4-3. Again, I couldn't figure out how to create the hierarchy because it would not let me combine these, won't let me drag. But I still showed the drop downs here. And that concludes Lab 4-3, so I'll go ahead and stop sharing. And thank you very much.